Hello, Steve White, TrickBoy89 for SteveArts89. I'm just trying to process what's just happened. I've already done a couple of videos, which I've calmed down a bit, so I'm trying again. I hate this idea. I'm disgusted by this idea. Basically, they've announced a Star Trek Section 31, and those two names should not go together, movie with Michelle Yeoh. Now, this is not about Michelle Yeoh. I love Michelle Yeoh. When she won the Oscar and she did a speech, I cried. I thought it was great. I love what she's done for representation for Asian people, for Asian women, for women. And I loved her in the first episode of Star Trek Discovery as Captain Philippa Georgiou on the Shinzu. I would love to see a Shinzu TV series. I'd love to see a movie with Captain Philippa Georgiou, but not Mirror Universe Georgiou. That's the problem. I love Michelle Yeoh. I don't have a problem with her, but they're focusing on the wrong version of her character. The one they're focusing on is literally a Yahtzee. She literally is guilty of genocide. She's practically a cannibal. She eats sarus. I mean, I hate the character. I hate everything that she and Section 31 represents. This undermining of Star Trek and Starfleet and Gene Roddenberry's vision. He had this vision that humanity would evolve and get past where we are, and he gave us this utopian society to believe in, and these evolved characters to aspire to. And these people, these cynical people who are so dark and cynical, they can't understand, they can't conceive of that universe, and they hate it. They have to destroy it and create this cynical dystopian version of Starfleet. And it started with Stephen Ira Burr, whatever his name was, where he hated Gene Roddenberry, he hated Star Trek The Next Generation. And what he did was he undermined Starfleet and Star Trek by basically saying, none of this is real or possible. It's all just a left-wing joke, basically. And none of this is possible without a bunch of right-wing Yahtzees and terrorists in the background undermining this democracy, basically. It just baffles me that these people, Star Trek is so, the people in this producing this show are so progressive and so talking about progressive and you know, diversity, representation, all this stuff, yet they have embraced the most cynical version of Star Trek you could possibly create, where they basically have undermined it and said none of this could exist without these MAGA Yahtzee terrorists in the background fixing everything, because the vision that Gene had of this utopian society and these evolved human beings who would act with morality and dignity and integrity, they couldn't, the world wouldn't survive without them. What we need is, you know, people who are willing to kill people in the background and cover it up and, you know, be terrorists, basically, and Yahtzees. It's just, I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. I really do. I love Star Trek. It means the world to me. It's the future I believe in. I believe humanity will evolve to become what Gene saw the future being. I really believe that. And for these people to come in and say, we don't believe that, we don't share that vision, so instead of just working on some dark, cynical series somewhere else in science fiction, no, we're just going to take what you love and absolutely violate it and destroy it and rip the heart out of it and replace it with this dead, cynical, just horrible thing. And that's what they've done with Discovery and everything. And I just hate it. I hate it so much. And I hate this movie. I hate what they're doing. The only good thing about this is, I mean, when Yeoh got the Oscar and when she was rising and that, I said they won't do a series because she won't be able to come back. She won't have the time. And when she won the Oscar, I was like, thank God, there's no way they're going to get her back to do Star Trek Section 31. The series, not going to happen. I was right. They cancelled the series and replaced it with a TV movie because that's all they could get out of her, like a couple of weeks to do this movie. And that's partly just because she loves the crew, she loves the actors, and for some reason she loves the character. Now, I'm just so disappointed. I wish they could have just had a Georgiou series with her, and like even Discovery would have been better if it was just her as the captain and Michael Burnham training under her and then eventually taking over when she goes off to be an admiral of Starfleet Academy. And they could have had a Starfleet Academy series with her sort of running the academy, and she just pops in every now and again for a cameo. Like, they just could have, this could have been great. Instead, it's awful. And the thing I hate the most is being white, by criticizing this movie because it's Section 31. People are just going to say, oh, you just don't want an Asian lead. You don't want an Asian woman lead. You're just racist because you're white and you're a man. So you must hate this movie because of that. No, I hate it because it absolutely destroys everything Star Trek stood for. Unless they're going to totally destroy Section 31 and find some way to redeem her character, that's the only way this can work in the Star Trek universe. I don't see them doing that, though. I don't know what else to say. And I've done so many videos now, I can't remember what I've said in this video and what I've said in the other videos. I don't think I went through any of this. But it's being made for Paramount Plus. It's going to be done later in the year. It's going to be streaming only, although some people are suggesting they will do it as an actual theatrical film. I don't see how that's possible. I mean, they could just put in cinemas for a small run or something, but there's no way they're going to get funding. Even though Michelle Yeoh is a big star, there's no way they're going to get funding to do a big film. They couldn't do it on the back of the two Chris's, or even Chris Hemsworth, or isn't it Chris Pine for Star Trek 4. I can't believe they're going to get it for Michelle Yeoh, because as much as I love her, the American audience is pretty racist and not very diverse, so I can't see them getting behind her for a blockbuster film. I just can't. So I can't see it getting a film released. Some people are saying that's what's going to happen, but either way, it's just going to be a film, not a series, because she doesn't have the time to do a series. This is really happening because Alex Kurtzman, just his ego, he wants to work with an Oscar-winning actress. He wanted to direct an Oscar-winning actress in a film, and I'm glad to say he's not going to do it. It's going to be directed by Olandunde Osunsanami. I don't know if that's how you say their name. I probably just butchered it, but they're directing it. Craig Sweeney is writing it. Kurtzman is going to be one of the 9 producers, executive producers, and that's it. So he got it made, and he got the Starfleet Academy series made on basically this. Like, well, if you don't give me this series, I won't do the Michelle Yeoh thing for you. I think he basically blackmailed them. I don't know how he managed to do this, but he got this. The Starfleet Academy series no one wants. A Starfleet Academy series maybe in the 23rd, 24th century would have been interesting. But in the 32nd century, where it's totally unrelatable, and they just it's not going to work. It's going to be an absolute disaster. But he got that made. No one wanted it. It's not going to work, but he got it made. We're begging for a legacy series, just like we begged for a Strange New World series for years before we got it. We're begging for a legacy series. There's no sign it's actually going to happen. But instead, Kurtzman gets his Starfleet Academy series. Why? Because of Michelle Yeoh and because of all this negotiation. Now, this was originally supposed to be announced on April 5th, and that's why they announced Starfleet Academy randomly on a Wednesday and didn't save it for First Contact Day, because they were saving it for this. But then, because negotiations dragged out, it wasn't ready. And that's why they're just dropping it now, just randomly out of nowhere. Now, the film is being... Well, it's being talked up by like the chief marketing officer, Dominic de Magelio or whatever, and they're just of course they're all happy that Michelle Yeoh is back, and they've got her and all that, but it's just she's put out a statement saying she's glad to be back with her Star Trek family, and I get that she loves the crew and loves the other actors. And she does want to come back, and that's why she came back. She doesn't have to do this. She's too big to have to do this. They may have had her contractually, so she may have had to do something. And rather than come back for a cameo in because there's no season 6 of Discovery, she can't do that. So I guess this is the least she could do is a TV movie. But yeah, I mean, it's so frustrating to love Star Trek and to see people that hate Star Trek doing their best to destroy the heart of what Star Trek was, to appeal to a cynical audience, general audience that doesn't understand, believe in, or are able to conceive in the universe and the vision that Gene Roddenberry had for Star Trek and humanity's future. It's just really upsetting. to see how it's been perverted and violated and just destroyed. And it really makes me sick, because it could have been so different if they just kept Georgiou as the captain and as Michael Burnham as the first officer, and did a series like that. You know, a black and Asian women leading, you know, captain and first officer of a Starfleet ship as a Star Trek show. How is that not great? But instead of that, they did went with a bunch of evil male captains and the mirror universe and a dark dystopian Star Trek, and then a future Starfleet, and then a future Starfleet that's destroyed and fallen apart. And they fixed it in the end, but Star Trek is not about... They think Star Trek is about getting to a better future. No, Star Trek was, we have a better future, let's enjoy it and learn from it, and go from there, expand from there. Instead, they've stepped back, made it a mess, and the whole thing is the journey to fix it and make it aspire to that. But we never actually get there. It's just, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it.